What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to today's group training. Today we're going over mastering the basics when it comes to fitness, when it comes to your exercises. A lot of people with ADHD struggle with this because it's like we constantly want to be switching up our routines. We constantly get bored. We want to try new things. We want to try the HIIT cardio, then we're going to go with powerlifting, the CrossFit. A lot of people with ADHD I've noticed get stuck in this thing where they're switching their routine every 3 months. And the thing is, guys, you're not going to see crazy results that way. If you keep switching your routine every 3 to 6 months, you're not really doing something long enough to really become an expert at it. My goal is to get you guys to become an expert at the basics, because once we become an expert at the basics, uh, our body's going to show it, our strength is going to show it, and we're just that's what it is, guys. There's not a lot of fancy movements that we really need to do to really change the way our body looks and feels. We just need to master master a compound pushing exercise, a compound pulling exercise, and a compound leg exercise. So a compound movements, and we'll get into that, guys, right here. Compound movements are exercises that require multiple muscle groups to perform. So you think of like a pull-up. With a pull-up, we're using our arms, we're using our forearms, we're using our back, we're using our shoulder, even a little bit of chest is involved. Think of a squat. With the squat, it's the hamstrings, calves, quads, glutes. So the tibialis muscles. There's a lot of muscles that are coming in. So that's why I try to get you guys to get stronger at compound movements, because we're going to be strengthening multiple muscle groups at a time. But there's still a place for isolations, and we're going to get into that. So I don't want to backtrack, and I'm going to just start, guys. The goal inside the program is to transform our bodies by getting stronger and better at the basics. I want to get you guys become experts at the basics. I'd say, honestly, it takes about a year to 3 years to become an expert at the basics, because a lot of people, they do the basics for a little bit, they get kind of cocky and confident, and then they do something completely different than the basics. And I mean, that's something that we could explore, but I truly believe, as your coach, that us continuing to get better at the basics and use progressive overload on the basics, that's where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. We're going to see the best results that way. So I want us to focus on compound movements and selected isolation movements. So why master the basics? Consistency. Sticking to the same exercises, it's going to help us track progress, for one. And it's sticking to the same exercises, we're going to get better at those exercises. So if we keep doing bench press, squat, pull-ups, we keep doing those are like the main my favorite, the main ones. The pull-up to me is one of the best for building the back. The bench press or a variation of the best bench press is the best for building the chest, and the squats or a variation of the squat is the best for building the lower body. So if we can get consistent with those main compound movements, not only get consistent, but get better at them, improve the range of motion, improve the tempo, improve the time under tension, and just get better at it through more reps, through more weight, and through maybe even a more advanced variation. If anybody has any questions while we're doing this live, or if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and comment below or hit the chat. So progressive overload, guys. Progressive overload is basically just gradually increasing the weight or reps or intensity to help build our muscle and strength. You know what Einstein said? We can't keep doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. That's why I try to push you guys to hit a PR at least every other workout. Some of you guys who've been in the program a while and we've surpassed our newbie gains and we're maybe like a year in, we're not going to hit PRs that frequent, but we should still be hitting PRs at least once a month. So if you are seasoned in the program, you've been in it at least 6 months to a year, the gains are slightly diminishing because we get to a certain point where we're just advanced, and it's just like it takes a little bit more time for us to hit that next PR. But if you're still within the first 6 months, we should be frequently hitting PRs at least every other week. All right. Now, progressive overload, people kind of get confused by what progressive overload is. It's just basically we can get stronger in a multitude of ways. You can get stronger by increasing the reps. You can get stronger by slowing it down, by pausing at the bottom. You can get stronger. You can increase progressive overload by just being more intentional, being more present, and increasing the weight, or switching to a more intense variation. continuing to why master the basics. Form and improvement. Repeating exercises allows you to perfect the form and reduce risk of injury. My whole thing as a coach is like, my number one thing is I want to prevent you from getting hurt. I've been hurt and I've had clients hurt, and trust me, it's a disaster when we get hurt because we lose a ton of progress and we fall out of momentum on our fitness journey, and it just sucks getting hurt. That's why I feel like mastering the basics, getting really good at the basics, and just adding muscle in key areas while just perfecting these ranges of motions is just going to help us get stronger while preventing injury. If we keep trying to do new things and we travel into different range of motions, we're doing exercises we aren't used to and putting load on those exercises that we aren't used to that are more intense, like that's setting us up for risking injury. Like, and honestly, like you're gonna get injured eventually. Like if you're gonna be training for the rest of your life, it's impossible to avoid injuries. Like even if we do everything right, you unfortunately you probably will get injured in some form of fashion. But you know, God, just knock on wood, God forbid. But I'm just saying, like if you plan on having fitness a part of your life for the rest of your life, like you plan on probably getting injured. It happens to everybody. But that, I mean, not to scare you, but it is what it is. You know, dopamine boost. You guys already feel this. Achieving personal best and seeing progress creates a sense of accomplishment and releases dopamine. See, if we were to keep switching things up, we would not be hitting PRs, and it would be so confusing, and like it would be kind of like we'd be overthinking and second guessing. And I know you can be overthinking and second guessing from just being consistent with the same exercises because you're like, hey, I've been doing this for a while. I'm not really seeing progress. But that's the thing. Like, that's why I want you guys to send in form videos. That's why I want you guys to be tracking your weight, tracking your reps, and making sure that you're resting long enough in between these sets so we can attempt PR, so we can try to get stronger, um, and all that good stuff. Efficiency. Mastering the basics Mastering the basic exercises makes your workouts more effective because the basics are work the best. These have been tried and proved and over again. Guys, I wouldn't steer you wrong. I want you guys to be doing the things that are going to get us the best results. And that's why we're going to continue to master the basics. And as we continue to master the basics and keep getting stronger at the basics, you're going to realize like you are getting a lot of dopamine from this because this is how we see, this is the best, most science-based way to actually see results is getting stronger at the basics of the compound movements. The definition of compound movements we already went over briefly is exercises that require multiple muscle groups at once. Squats, deadlifts. I'm not a huge fan of deadlifts, but it's a compound movement. Bench press, pull-ups, rows. All great exercises. The only reason why I said I'm not a huge fan of the deadlift is because it's very taxing on your central nervous system. The deadlift, I mean, if we start doing the deadlift while we're doing other compound movements, you're going to feel maybe weaker on some other exercises because it takes so much strength and energy to perform deadlifts because it's an intense exercise. So I normally don't have people do deadlifts, but if you want to do them, we can do them. And the benefits of compound movements: efficient use of time, greater muscle activation, improved functional strength. Boom. Isolation movement. Now, isolation movements different than compound movements. These exercises that target a single muscle group at a time. Things like calf raises, things like bicep curls, tricep extensions, leg curls, lateral raises. And the benefits of isolation exercises is it focuses on specific muscle development, corrects muscle imbalances, and enhances muscle definition. So with the compound movements, we're really building like muscle mass. We're building up our lean mass. We're building up our true body strength, and we're building muscles in multiple areas at once. Like the pull-ups, you're building. There's going to be the mid back, the upper back, the traps, the chest. There's like we're with compound movements, we're working on multiple muscle groups and building multiple muscle groups at a time. With isolation movements, we're targeting one single muscle at a time to either help with muscle imbalances or to also bring up a lagging body part. Like if you're noticing that your shoulders and back are your shoulders and back are huge, your chest looks good, but your arms are really small, then we do some curls, we do some tricep extensions to bring up those lagging body parts. So there's a reason for both compound and isolation, and as you guys can see with your programs, there's probably a good healthy mix of both compounds and isolations. Concepts of mastering the basics. You guys know I preach about form all the time. Proper form, proper technique, ensure safety, maximizes effectiveness, focus on alignment, control, breathing, being present, being intentional with your range of motion. Controlling the weight throughout the full range of motion. A lot of people, they just go quick and they're just trying to get as many reps as they can. When you do that, you're putting stress on your joints and your bones. We actually want to slow down. The slower we go, the more stress is going to be on the muscle fibers. Okay. Number two, intensity. Varying the intensity to challenge your muscles. Incorporate different tempo, rest periods, and resistance levels. And this is going to come with progressive overload as we continue to master the basics. Volume. The volume, the total amount of work done. That's what the sets, the reps, the weight. Adjust volume based on your goals and your recovery ability. And as you know, as you first get started in my program, we usually do a lot of volume just to get your body adjusted to moving more and just to get the mind muscle connection and body awareness built. And then usually, you know, after around 6 months ish, it just depends on your goals and your skill level. We usually reduce volume and we increase intensity, because once you're at a point where you're so locked in on your form, you know how long to rest, you know you have that mind muscle connection, you know how to train hard. Once you are, I would say, an intermediate, pretty close to advanced, that's the time that we start to reduce volume, we start to increase rest, and we start to increase intensity. Because as you start to get more advanced in your training, we're going to have to train harder and rest longer and just basically do less, but our power output is more. Let me know if that makes sense. And you know, not to overwhelm you guys, we'll talk about that. I'll talk about that individually with each of you when we get to that point. Exercise selection. The basics, guys. I'm not a huge fan of doing crazy exercises. I mean, some things I like to do back in the day, like, you know, explosive push-ups or explosive exercises, which are fun, but I always will go back to the basics: pushing, pulling, and a leg exercise. We got to find the best pushing exercise for you, the best pulling exercise for you, and the best leg exercise for you that requires the most amount of muscle groups at once, that we can do that same exercise for 6 months to a year, so we can really become a master at that exercise that requires multiple muscle groups to perform. Because once we become a master at an exercise that requires multiple muscle groups to perform, at that point, our body should have dramatically changed. You know, we should have a good amount of muscle on our body. You might still have a lot of body fat, and that's a whole different story. And we'll talk about nutrition next week. But when it comes to the actual muscle, if we can really become experts at doing just a few movements, getting good at just a few movements, it's going to really just change the way our body looks. Overcoming boredom with ADHD. See, this is the thing that a lot of people struggle with ADHD and mastering the basics, because we get bored with just doing the same shit over again. But the thing is, the mindset shift. Focus on improving and perfecting the same exercise rather than constantly changing your workouts. If you can think of this, it can be like a different workout every week, because every week you're looking back at what you did last week and you're looking at today and be like, okay, what can I do to outperform last week? Okay, set one with a warm up, set two, I did this amount with this many reps and I did this much weight. So it's always, every workout can be new and exciting because we're going into uncharted territories. We're pushing ourselves to see if we can get stronger in a multitude of ways. If we can get stronger with how many reps we're doing, with how slow we're going, with how controlled we are, with how much weight we're doing. So I want you guys to think that it might, the mindset shift I'm trying to articulate for you guys is that if you're feeling bored doing the same exercises over and over again, to me that's an indicator that you're not present with these movements. If you were super present, super intentional with the rep throughout the whole range of motion, you would be more excited, you would be more engaged, and it would be easier for you to hit PRs because you would be so engaged. And then you'd be able to look back last week and be like, okay, fuck yeah, let's do this. I'm about to outdid what I did last week, and it can just be exciting and feel new just with that mindset shift. All right. Set goals. Aim for small, achievable milestones to stay motivated. And you guys know we do that with the short-term fat loss goals, but we also do that with trying to push you guys to hit PRs every other week. Track your progress. You guys know that I'm tracking everybody's progress inside the app. And if you guys want to check out your own progress inside the app, you just got to go to your dash, go to your press that blue plus sign. There should be a progress button. You can click on the progress. You go to review by workout. You can see all of your workouts, all of your sets, reps, and the PRs that you've hit. Variety in structure. Change up the sets, reps, intensity to keep things interesting while sticking to the same exercises. So a lot of you guys, we're going to be slowly implementing reverse pyramid training, and we're going to do a whole training on reverse pyramid training. And there actually is a lot of trainings inside my video library about reverse pyramid training, but it's basically a normal pyramid training is when you do a little bit of weight, add some, do a little bit of weight, add some. You keep on adding weight as you go up to this, as you go up the set. The reverse pyramid is the opposite. You warm up with that exercise that you're about to do, and then that first set is going to be the most heavy, the most intense set, and then you drop weight and do more reps as the sets progress. And we will go over this in more detail whenever somebody is ready to implement reverse pyramid training. But for the most period, most of all, most people are focusing on just doing like just doing 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 12, just to continue to build that volume, to build that mind muscle connection. But when we feel really confident with these moves and with our training intensity and our form, then we're going to start to implement reverse pyramid training. And this could be an add and a whole new excitement for you guys, because reverse pyramid training keeps things very interesting because we're doing something different every single set. And I'm excited for a lot of you guys to start to implement that. Consistency is key. Stick to the basics and keep improving them. I'm gonna keep saying that same stuff. Progressive overload, gradually increase the difficulty to build strength and muscle. Enjoy the process, celebrate small wins. You know, we do that, improvements, and stay motivated. All right. Action plan. Select your exercises, choose a mix of compounds and isolations, which I've done for you guys. Set clear goals, which we are doing inside the program. Define what you want to achieve with each exercise. And what you should be wanting to achieve with each exercise is full control throughout the full range of motion while training hard, while pushing yourself, making sure that last rep, those last 2 reps are hard to do, and tracking your progress. Use a workout log to record your weights and reps and personal best. We do that all inside the app, and you can keep a notepad journal too. That's fine with me. Whatever works for you. Stay consistent. Commit to sticking with the same exercises and focus on getting better at them. Because guys, as we progress into reverse pyramid training, we're still going to be doing the same exercises. We might do a couple tweaks. You might go from flat bench to incline bench. We might go from like a barbell squat to a goblet squat, or we can switch up the variations, but it's really the same exercises. It's this targeting the same muscle groups. Even when it comes to a dumbbell bench, or we're doing a neutral grip pull up or a chin up or a pull up, like whatever we may switch variations as we progress in the program, but we are going to be really holding to our principles of doing a similar compound movement, a similar isolation movement, and just getting better at them over time. And trust me, guys, once we become experts at the basics and we're able to get super strong at the basics, you're going to thank me and be like, hey, thanks for making me stay consistent with the basics, because now I'm like super strong at the basics and have a lot of muscle, and it's really awesome. So I hope you guys got value from this training, Mastering the Basics of Fitness, and I had fun delivering this. I hope this was clear and concise and everything made sense, guys. I want to keep things simple, and I feel like the main hurdle is for us not just to not get bored. And I hope a lot of these tips that I'm giving you is going to prevent that boredom. But we can switch things up. We can still switch things up. If you want to start doing like weighted push-ups instead of bench press, if you want to start doing, instead of doing pull-ups, we can do pull down, lat pull downs. We can still switch things up, but the thing is, we're still going to be targeting these muscle groups. We're still going to be targeting these muscle groups. We're still going to be doing compound movements. We're still going to be doing isolation movements. And we're still going to try to push to get stronger at these and just become experts at moving our body through ranges of motion with load attached to that. So hope this made sense. Hope you guys got value. I had fun delivering this training, and everybody got this PDF message to them inside the app, but I'm also going to be posting it inside the groups if you guys want to review this later. But again, if you have any questions about what I went over today, please let me know. And I think next week we're going to go over mastering the basics when it comes to nutrition. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Love you guys. Hope you got value. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.